Special counsel Jack Smith is asking the Supreme Court to weigh in on whether former President Donald Trump can be criminally prosecuted. It's part of the investigation into Trump's alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Trump signaled he would ask an appeals court to weigh in on the decision to get the case heard. Smith is looking to bypass the appeals court and take it straight to the Supreme Court to avoid any additional delays. CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane joins us now. Scott, in chatting with the producers earlier on the phone, you said you called this request from Jack Smith the, quote, whole ball game. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, this is the football equivalent of skipping from the preseason right to the Super Bowl. Jack Smith is trying to bring his case right to the U.S. Supreme Court to decide a fundamental question which has practical and long-lasting implications. Can a former president be prosecuted for crimes he allegedly committed while in office, even if he's been impeached before the criminal case comes to court? It has obvious practical implications. This historic trial of Donald Trump in front of a federal jury is scheduled for March 4th. Trump is trying to pause all the proceedings till after the election, saying there are issues he wants to appeal. So Jack Smith wants the Supreme Court to weigh in promptly and decide whether that trial moves forward March 4th. But the broader, more fundamental questions are long-lasting. Can a former president be criminally prosecuted for what happened while he was in office? You can see the historic nature, the history book material the Supreme Court could be deciding if they decide to take it up now. They could decide, no, let the appeals courts run through this, let the district court run through this, we're going to keep our hands clean for now. Or they could intervene and side one way or another. But Jack Smith is, in essence, Seth, putting all his chips on the table, saying, let's decide this whole thing now because it's headed to the Supreme Court eventually.
So there might be another sports analogy or terminology here. You could call it running out the clock. That might appeal as well. Or
Donald Trump's attorneys have been pretty clear about that, Seth. They'd like to stretch out the clock of all these criminal cases, run everything past the election. They call it a distraction for a candidate. They call it political prosecutions, the dynamics of which would change if Donald Trump won re-election. But of course, this would also likely mean the end of the criminal prosecutions at the federal level. If Donald Trump were to retake office, he would have the autonomy, the ability to have his Justice Department kill off these cases. So there's a real practical need that Donald Trump sees to push things past January 2025.
And Scott, let's turn to Ukraine. President Zelensky is headed to the White House and to Capitol Hill to talk about funding. What can you tell us?
He made an argument earlier today, Seth, which likely will echo what he says tomorrow when he meets with senators, House leaders, and the president. He made a practical argument that they are regaining territory Russia had seized earlier in the war, and that he expects to spell out the landmarks, the mileposts he's going to set for 2024. He's making a practical argument because some of the resistance to giving Ukraine more U.S. tax dollars is that it's believed this war is a stalemate and that they'd be throwing good money after bad if there's no progress. Listen to more of what Volodymyr Zelensky said today at the National Defense University here in Washington.
America and all free nations need to be confident in themselves, in their strengths, in their leadership, so that dictatorships doubt themselves and their power to undermine freedom. When the free world hesitates, that's when dictatorships celebrate.
Let me lay out the timeline, Seth. He meets with Senate leaders tomorrow morning, then with the House Speaker and House leaders later in the morning, then at the White House tomorrow. That he's making an in-person visit to Washington, D.C. again is an indication of the fragility of more U.S. aid to Ukraine. There are dozens of House Republicans who simply oppose it. There are Senate Republicans who want to change immigration law to approve Ukraine aid. That's a tricky thing to do in a short time period. The money's in a fragile state. Zelensky recognizes it, so he's coming here in person to try to convince folks to change their mind.
And Scott, what happens if they don't get this aid?
I think you're going to hear over the next couple of weeks, Seth, some Republicans argue that the president's timetable of getting this aid by the end of the month is not a necessary timetable, that there is more time available to get the money approved. They'll make that argument because they're trying to buy time to extend the clock to do more negotiations on that nettlesome issue of immigration reform, which, Seth, in the best of times, is difficult to iron out in Congress.
And just briefly, Scott, you're always in that rotunda following this. So historically, looking back, how much of a difference do these visits make?
They make quite a bit of difference. It's harder to say no to somebody who's appeared in front of you in person. That's true of all lobbying, all advocacy in Congress, which is why there's so many people visiting here trying to get things, including money. Zelensky will get a big audience tomorrow, a bipartisan audience. Let's see if he can capitalize on that.
All right, Scott MacFarlane, as always, thank you.